It's a beautiful day on the beach, and I'm gonna put this bike through its paces. Stay tuned. The million-dollar question when you get a bike you want to ride on the beach is how does it perform in the tough conditions created by the different types of sand? Pretty much any bike with 2-inch tires or better can run down there next to the ocean on the hard pack, but once you get up here into the mushy sand, which the tide will eventually force you up into, that's when it gets a little bit sporty. And that's when you're gonna want 4-inch fat tires. You're gonna want a powerful motor. This one has 750 watts that surges to 1400 watts, but more important, you want plenty of torque to grind through the mush. And this sucker has 105 Newton meters, more than any bike I've ever reviewed. And we'll see what that means out here in this tough environment. Well, let's get going and see how this thing's gonna do. First thing to note about riding on a beach is that you really want the walk assist to work, because just like right here, I've got to walk through this deep sand to get down to where I can start riding. And to activate the walk assist, all you do is press and hold the down arrow and off it goes. Here's the first test I want to put this bike through. I've got a steep slope right here with mushy sand up at the top, and I want to see if this 105 Newton meters of torque is enough to power up this steep slope, because if it is, I know I'm good in a lot of places here at the north end of Carolina Beach. Let's see how it does. Mushy sand combined with a steep hill is going to be a pretty tough challenge. And you can see that the Nomad 2X has no problem at all. Swinging around and coming back, easy riding. Well, we can see that one wasn't a problem. Let's go find some tougher tests. Okay, check out this obstacle right here. You can see that there's a vertical ledge running up and down the beach. Let's see if this thing has the guts to deal with that. I wasn't even running at full power, and you can see it just kind of leaped up over these ledges. Well, we're about to do the toughest challenge. You know, the hills were one thing, but mushy sand is the real obstacle, because if you get caught in mushy sand, you're not going to go anywhere. And that's especially an issue if you get caught as the tide goes up, because at the top of the tide level is where the sand is the most mush. So I'm going to see how this thing does in this stretch of really mushy sand right here. And I'm sure with 105 Newton meters of torque, there's not going to be any issue. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, but if you're getting a bike primarily for the beach, you really need to get the step-through model, because on unstable sand, you don't want to have to lift your leg all the way up over a bar. It's so much easier to just step through, get on, put the kickstand up, and move out. Let's try this two ways. First, by pedaling at a lower level of pedal assist, and then I'll take the easy way out and just throttle my way across it. Now you can see how far the tires are digging in here. Amazing. Well, that was awesome. Clearly, no problem at all. And I did not speed that video up anything. Let me show you what we drove through. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about mushy sand. This goes down all the way up to my hand right there. What's that, about 4 inches? And that is what's going to defeat a typical bike as you ride on the beach. You're going to get caught in this mushy sand, and your tires are just going to spin without the torque. But the Nomad 2X, no problem at all. Dry, crusty sand isn't a big an obstacle as really loose sand, and with the torque, I'm able to power through, as you can see from my back trail here. That's about 4 inches deep, and I had no problem at all getting across that. Here's the difference between that firm loose sand and really loose sand. This is impassable for any e-bike. Don't even try this. Get off your bike and walk when you're running the stuff like this. Well, I think we can wrap up this review, and it's been a 100% success. I got up the steep hills, I could deal with the mushy sand, and I could even go a little bit on the dry sand, but not many bikes can do that because it's just so unstable. So that's not an issue. And again, if you just stay up there at the top of the high tide line, you're never going to have to deal with the dry sand anyway. So 100% thumbs up on the Nomad 2X as a beach bike. And here's one bonus tip for you at the end of this video. Always bring a small cutting board. I got this at the dollar store, and put that under your kickstand when you stop, and that way your bike's not going to fall over in the soft sand. Have you guys had experience riding on the beach on e-bikes? Any advice you have, I'm happy to read and apply. But I tell you, this Nomad 2X, again, absolute thumbs up.